Today we're talking about dividing 3-digit numbers by a 1-digit divisor. This is similar to the division that we've done already, but we've been talking about 2-digit numbers by a 1-digit. In order to divide 3-digit numbers by a 1-digit divisor, we need to start in the hundreds place, just like we did with long division. I see that there is a 3 in the hundreds place. That means I have 3 groups of 100. I'm dividing those groups of 100 into 2 groups. So I ask myself, if I have 3 groups of 100, how many would go into each group if I was dividing them evenly into 2 groups? Well, I would probably put this one in the first group and this one in a second group. So far they're even, but this third 100 has nowhere to go. If I put it in the first group, that one would be uneven. If I add it to the second group, that group would be uneven. So I'm going to leave that group of 100 out. I notice that each of my groups has one group of 100. So I know that 3 hundreds divided into 2 groups will only give each group 1. In other words, 3 divided by 2 is 1. But I know that I'm going to have 1 left over, and I know that because long division tells me so. I know the next step is to multiply and check, so 1 times 2 is 2. And in order to see how many groups of 100 are left over, I'm going to subtract. And I know that 3 minus 2 is 1. I notice that my leftover 100 matches what I had over here, 1 group left over. I know that 3 hundreds divided by 2 is 1 group of 100. So far, so good. Now that I've done the hundreds, I'm going to look at my tens. I know that I had 1 group of 100 left over. So I can't just forget about it. Instead, I'm going to break it apart into groups of tens. I know that there are 10 tens in 100. When I bring down in long division, I see that my new number, or my new dividend, is 19. Notice that that number matches the number of tens that I now have after I break up the group of 100. I had 9 in the tens place, and my group of 100 was broken up, so now I have 19 tens. I ask myself the same question I did with the 100s. If I have 19 tens, how many would go into each group if I made 2 equal groups? Looking at my hundreds, I think that I'm going to put 9 tens into the first group, and I'm going to put 9 tens into the second group. If I do them evenly, I notice that I have 1 10 left over. Long division will check and make sure that I'm right. I think that I can put 9 groups of 10 evenly into 2 groups. To check, I'm going to do 9 times 2, which I know is 18. I put my 18 right here so I can subtract and see how many tens are left over. I already know there's 1, and long division confirms it. 19 minus 18 is 1. If you said that your next step is to bring down the ones place, you would be right. When I bring down the ones place, I see that I have 14 ones. I'm left with 14 ones. I know this because I started with 4. But I had 1 10 left over from the tens place, and I can't forget about it, so I broke it up into 10 ones. If I add those 10 ones to the 4 that I already had, now I have 14 ones to divide up. I ask myself the question I asked in all the other places. What is 14 ones divided evenly into 2 groups? Well, 14 divided by 2 is one of my basic facts, and I know that 14 divided by 2 is 7. And if I were to draw that, I would say that here's one group with 7, and here's my second group with 7. So 14 divided by 2 is 7. I can check with long division by saying, what is 7 times 2? I know it's 14. According to my picture, I have nothing left over, and according to my long division, I have no remainder. Therefore, 394 divided by 2 must be 197.